don't give up. Do not give up.
Yeah.
There's going to be rainy days, there's going to be sunny days. Don't give up. Keep pushing. It doesn't matter what one person says, like we talked about earlier. You have to believe in yourself. When they set the law from 1,500 to 1,000 hours,
Yeah.
something real tragic happened to me. By state law, you only needed 1,000 to take
Yeah.
your state board exam. But I was so dedicated and
You're like, I'm already
determined. I'm
doing
like,
it.
no, I need to do it. And they
Yeah.
were like, just go take your test. That way you can be licensed. You need
Yeah.
to be licensed. And then when they were like, oh, you passed, I was like, ah,
Oh,
no, oh my
I know.
God, I
Oh
passed.
my
And
God,
my
yes.
client, you're going to get different clients.
Hey guys, it's Anna, your master lash artist with the Lash Supply here with another episode and podcast of the Lash Life. We have a very special guest here. Her name is Chastity. Chastity, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi, I'm Chastity. I am a lash tech for the past 5 years, as well as a cosmetologist. My studio is in East Houston.
Yes.
I'm closer to Channelview area. I've been there for the past year.
Yes. So actually, guys, I know Chastity on a personal level. We actually work in the same suite in the same building.
Yes.
And we've been together there for a while now. We have like a crazy, beautiful dynamic. Like, we just love being in the same studio. Like,
Yeah.
we're just like in and out. But that's not the reason why I invited her, just because I know her. I invited her over because she's an amazing lash artist. And I really think that Chastity is an example of struggle to success, and I want her to tell you guys a little bit about that, because I think it's very important in this industry for you to hear that it is going to be hard, but you can make it. You can make it through the hard times and eventually be on top and have the clientele that you've always desired. So, Chastity, I know that, let's go take it way back. Um, you were in cosmetology school,
Right.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And it was kind of like a love hate relationship with that.
Yes, it was. It was long hours, and it felt like you're working, you're never getting paid,
Yeah.
and I thought I was never going to end it.
Yeah, I know. I went through the same thing. Chastity and I were actually in cosmetology school at the same time. Like, we didn't have like the same exact hours. We
No.
were kind of like back and forth like this, because then I would leave and she would leave and I would come back and she would leave and she would come
Right.
back. And it was just a struggle. It was a big, big struggle. Tell us a little bit about what got you into cosmetology school in the first place.
So, going to cosmetology, ever since high school, I've always wanted to be a cosmetologist. I've always wanted to do hair. I was very inspired by that. In high school, I used to do a lot of girls' hairs for quinceañeras, for parties, for when they would go out to teen
that's
night.
cool.
I would do a lot of that. I practiced on a lot of my sisters, friends.
That was me too.
I mean, it's true when they say you gotta burn some heads to get somewhere.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, definitely, that was a big thing for me. And being in cosmetology, one day one of the instructors asked, "Hey, y'all want to do a lash class?" And I'm like, "Well, what's that?"
Yeah.
I knew about lash strips and stuff like that, but and I also knew where you could go to the nail salon and they would
Yeah.
put the lash
Yes,
on you,
I
and
had
they
that
would
done.
bother you. Oh
I
my
had that
God!
done.
I swear, I would go and get them done, and I'd be like, my eyes are so
Yes.
sensitive already.
I honestly, back in the day, thought that was lash extensions.
So did I. Whenever they asked
Like,
me about the lash class,
yeah.
I was like, I don't know if I want to do that.
Yeah, when I was introduced to taking a lash class as well, um, I was kind of confused about it. I didn't even sign up for it for the lash class. I actually was taking other classes, and it came with lash class.
Okay.
And so that was brand new to me too. Like,
Yeah.
I really thought that
That's what I thought it was.
that's what
too.
we were gonna learn.
And she's like, no, 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 no. It's individuals one by one. And I'm like, okay, well, how much is the class? She's like, well, all you got to do is pay for your kit. So I'm like, okay, paid for my kit, went to the class. I literally went to the class and was only there for half of the class. It was a 2-day class.
Yeah.
I was there for the first day for, well, like 3/4 of the class. The second day was when we worked on models. And
Yeah.
I ended up being the model that got to be worked on.
Oh,
So I didn't get time to do it. So I'm like, ugh. So I guess it was like kind of like learning on your own.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
gotta watch YouTube channels. You gotta watch your
do.
reels. You learn from other people. TikTok is a big thing now.
Yeah.
I learned a lot of things. Even being 5 years in as a lash tech, I still learn so much
Yes,
stuff on
me too.
TikTok
I
and
really
other
do.
forms of social media.
Yeah, that's very true. Like, I've been doing it for a while too, and something still like surprised me. I'm like, oh, I never really thought about that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's so much to still learn. But so you took the lash class, and then like, what was your next step? Like, what were you
So
thinking?
after I took the lash class, I'm like, well, I want to do this. Like, I need to try. I need to practice on somebody. So I went home and I did my mom's lashes. It took me 4.5 hours
Oh my god,
to
I
do
remember
one
that.
eye.
I remember it took me that long
One
too. I was
eye.
just like, oh my god, why is it taking me so long?
Yes, and whenever you're doing it, well, whenever they taught you, you're like, okay, well, you do one eye and then you go to the next eye. And 4.5 hours on one eye, I was
Yeah.
exhausted. I was like, how do you get the strength to do the other eye?
Yeah, you know what? I was taught to do one eye at a time too.
Yeah,
And back then we were only doing, when I learned it, I was only doing classic.
yeah.
I didn't know, we didn't even have trays yet. And so I had to pull them out of like this little pot, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
But then even when you did it, there weren't like a lot of quality lashes out there.
No, they were no. I learned with point 20s.
Yeah.
Okay, so I learned with point 20s. My first couple clients, I want to say probably my first 4 months.
Yeah.
I only knew about point 20.
Yeah.
I didn't know nothing about
Yeah.
point 0.05, point 0.03. I
Yes.
didn't know how to make a fan. I
Right.
just learned in my lash class. All we learned was classic.
Classic. Yeah.
Yeah, everything
what I
else
learned
when it
too.
comes to volumes and stuff, that's self-taught.
Exactly, exactly. Same thing for me. Like I was taught to do classic, and I was taught back then that if I wanted to give a fuller look, I was going to apply another classic to the classic I just
Yes.
and I was like,
Yeah.
what am I doing?
And if you're doing that, a point 20, two,
That's so
just two
heavy.
of them, even one is too heavy.
Yeah,
I don't
guys.
even tell my girls that. I
So
tell them use like a 12 or
point
15.
20, you're gonna see it on every single box, any lash tray that you look at. It's always gonna have a number with a decimal. The decimal means how thick and how heavy the lash is. So a lot of people just think how thick it is, but just think about it like this: if it's really thick, it's going to be really heavy.
Yes.
So you guys need to understand what that means on the boxes. So if you're doing a classic set, it makes sense sometimes to think a point 20 is going to give you that pop, right? But in reality, if you have a client who has a very thin lash line, a point 20 would be too heavy.
Right.
So we like to give like little tips like this in our podcast because I know sometimes you guys are listening for it. You know
Yes,
what I mean?
it
Like,
helps. It does
yeah,
help.
not only are you listening to our whole story and everything, but we like to give like little tips in there just so that you guys can pick up on that. And again, we love to make these podcasts for a lot of our beginner lash artists. I know some of
Yeah.
our advanced lash artists listen to some of our podcasts as well. You know, you may learn a thing or two also because sometimes you've been in the industry so long that you're just practicing what you're taught and you don't pick up anything else. You
Right.
know what I
In the
mean?
beauty industry, every day something changes.
Absolutely.
Every day there's a new trend, there's a new
Yes.
look, there's something new, especially with lashes.
Yeah.
There's stuff that I see and I'm like, oh, what is that? Or
Right.
my clients will be like, oh, can you do this? And I'm like, what is that?
Yeah.
I don't even know what
I
that
know.
is. So then I have to go
You're
look
like,
it
I
up
haven't
and
even
see.
seen that before. Like,
Right.
what is going on now?
Yeah.
But sometimes it's like a reinvented way of doing something.
Hmm.
But and you know, some of you might be like, well, I already know that. But you know, we do podcasts like this for some people that don't know the information, and we want to give it to you so that you don't make the same mistakes that we made
Right.
back then. So this is the point of our podcast. So
Right.
anyway, Chastity, so you went home, you did your mom's lashes. What'd your mom say?
She loved them. She loved them, and she was like, "This is taking forever." And at that time, I didn't know about using the massage table as a lash bed and
Yeah.
having them come through. I was literally had her laid on the couch.
That's what I did.
With
my
her
first
head
set.
on,
That was my
with
first
the
set.
lamp beside me and all my
Yeah.
stuff at a table.
That was me too. Like
And
way
I was like,
back.
yes, I didn't get to a
Uh-huh.
ring lamp until the longest.
Yes.
I swear. I
too.
tried different things,
Me too.
and I tried, and it took me longer because of my lighting and
Yeah, me too.
trying to how to position my ways and make my hands
Yeah.
a certain way. You know what I mean? So
Yes.
it's little nips and tricks that help you get
Yes.
faster. Because girls are like, well, I don't want to be a lash tech. I want to be a lash tech because I want to make the money that y'all make.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I can do it because it takes so much time and
Yeah.
so much patience and well, I don't have time for that. It's too much. How do you do it in this amount of
Yes.
time? And it takes me this long.
Yeah.
It's years of practice and
Years of practice.
dedication.
Yeah. And you know what? It's very true about having the right tools. You know what I
Yes.
mean? Because I did the
Yes.
same thing. Um, almost 12, 13 years ago when I was taught, um, I had this girl, when I was taught, this girl sat in a chair and she sat back like this,
Yes.
and I was standing over her
Yes.
doing her lashes, and that's the lady, that's how she taught me.
Same.
And so I was like, there's got to be a better way. So then my first person that I asked to be, my model, she actually paid me for it. And I laid her on my couch. And back then, my couches didn't have that long arm.
Right. It was
had a
kind
shorter
of little,
arm.
yeah.
It had a shorter arm, resting arm. So I just told her, lay on the couch and put your head back towards me. And I grabbed a kitchen
Yeah.
chair.
Chair.
Yeah, like my dining room chair. And I
Right.
pulled it up behind her.
Yeah.
And that's how I lashed her. And I didn't even have the proper lighting.
No.
Like,
And
I just turned on all the
yes.
lights in my house, hoping that I would
Yes,
get light.
that it would be okay.
Yeah.
Yes, I did that a lot, and then I even went into getting the glasses with the magnifying,
Yeah.
and that still struggled for me. The
Yeah, I
the
hear that a lot.
magnifying, it didn't work for me. So I'm
Yeah.
like, no, this isn't working. So, but the light did help. So I knew
Yeah.
the LED light on there helped.
Exactly.
So instead of doing that, I was like, you know what? I need a light. I need an LED light. I need something that's
Yes.
bright. And I still didn't think, oh, a ring light. I
Right.
still didn't think that.
Yeah.
So whenever guys go fishing and they put the headband and
Yes.
they have the light
Yes.
and then they tilt like this, I wore one of those forever.
Like if you're going into a dark
Man,
tunnel.
Yes, I wore one of
Like
those
you're,
forever.
like you're a miner. Yeah.
I wore one of those forever,
my
and people
God.
would be like, "What are you wearing?"
Yeah,
And I'm like, "Don't judge me. I'm trying to work here."
Yeah.
So
But-
I'm sitting here doing
Yes.
lashes,
But you're
yeah.
trying something different. You're
Yes.
trying to see what
And
works
it
for you.
worked, and it worked for
Yes.
so long.
And you know what I did? So this was many, many years ago. But I like thrifting, and I would go with my mom and dad to thrift once in a while.
Uh-huh.
And I was thinking, man, I always thought about like, man, there has to be a better way. Like I can't even see. Like the room where I lash is so dark. Like I need more lighting. And so we were at a thrift store, and I had mentioned to my mom and my dad, like, I need better lighting, but I didn't know what type of light to buy because nobody taught me about lights.
Right.
When I lash, they just teach you how to lash.
Right.
Like in the same lighting.
Yeah, see, nowadays, whenever you take a lash class,
Now they tell you.
we teach all of that.
Yes,
We tell you,
about lighting.
oh, you need this and
Yes.
that and this. When I learned 5 years ago, we didn't know none of that.
No.
We just knew application, isolation, you know what I mean, and
Yes.
disinfection.
And
that was
imagine
it.
me 10 years ago. That's even worse.
Yes,
That's even worse. Like I was taught totally the wrong way. And so anyway, I was at Goodwill. I was at a Goodwill, and my mom and dad were like, "Oh, look, there's this light." And I'm like, "Oh, maybe that would help." And it kind of like opened, but I didn't know about lighting. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I bought it. It was like, I don't know, $5. And so I would sit that close to my table when I would lash, but the light would get so hot eventually.
Yes.
And I'm like, this thing is getting, and I could see my client like with a little
Little
right
sweat,
here.
yes, because it was
So
so
my
hot.
glue probably wasn't even working.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I
Like,
know,
the
exactly.
struggles back then were probably not even me. It was probably
yeah.
our bad lighting.
Yeah, probably
know what
was.
I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
So
I went from that. Whenever I went from that, I
Yeah.
went into the light that goes over. The white light that
Yeah.
the estheticians use.
yes, yes.
I used that light, and it worked pretty good, but it just wasn't as bright.
Yeah, I
So
used
then
that
I went
too.
from there to a ring light.
Yeah.
Ring light was the best. I thought it was great.
Yeah.
And then lift it over, and then I had it just be like right on my client,
Yes.
and then too, but it would get really hot as well.
And I feel like you have to turn over to get good
Yes.
lighting on the other side.
Yeah,
'Cause it's
you
at
have
an
to
angle.
constantly move your
Yeah.
client.
And then if you do it like flat like this, you have a risk of it falling over.
Yes.
So I was always like, I tried that too. I tried the esthetician light with the magnifying glass in
Right.
the middle, but it would get a little warm back then, and it went out so quick.
Yeah, it did. It would go out.
Mine went out
it was
so
pretty,
quick.
it's pretty expensive for it to
Yeah,
go out
I
that
know. And I was
Yeah.
just like, I'm not gonna buy another one of those.
Right. And then so I used the ring light all the way up until I moved into the studio with you.
Yeah.
So when we moved into the studio and you had the moonlight,
Yeah.
that was like the best ever.
I
was
know,
like,
I love the
oh my
moonlight.
goodness, yes.
Like finally,
That's
right?
like the best.
Yes,
Yeah.
and we have never gone back. Like
No.
we have, I think
That's
if
what we're
ours
sick
goes
to.
down,
Yeah.
we're just gonna get another.
No, we're
one.
just gonna have to get another
Yeah,
one
the
because-
moonlight is amazing. Cosmo Glow, I think they were the ones that started coming up with it. And then other companies kind of picked up on it. We have one at the Lash Supply as well. The Lash Supply has a really, really nice one. It comes in pink also.
Oh yeah.
It's so, so nice. I love it because you get lighting all the way around.
Yes.
Like you don't have to turn people around to get lighting on this side or
No,
this side. And
it covers everything.
yes, the
And
most,
yes, you have different lighting
yeah,
structures. You have different modes, like you said. It
yeah,
can go like a yellow light, kind of like a tan light.
bright
A
light.
red light,
And then
a
you could turn
bright.
it down
Yeah.
and turn it up.
However,
I
as
mean,
bright as
it's
you want,
just,
as
it's
dim as you need.
amazing. That's just like such a come up for us.
Yeah, it is. It is. It really. When you think about it, when you think about going back, and you're like,
I can't
gosh,
believe I
it
used to
makes
use that
life
shit.
so much
Yeah. Like I can't believe I
easier.
used to use that
Yeah,
shit.
a light. It will make your life
And
so
then
much
like
easier.
I struggled so much with lighting because the room that I lashed in eventually, it just the light was so dark in there. And so I needed something like right on the eyeball. I switched to like a light that kind of attached to my bed and that it was just kind of like a ring light for phones. And I could put it
Okay.
right over the eye so that I felt like I could lash faster. But then when I got the moonlight, I was just like, what was I doing? What was I thinking? You know what I
Right.
mean? But I just tried everything because I just wanted to make my job easier. You know what I mean?
Right, right, right,
And
right.
so you just like you try everything, even
Everything. Well, because that one was like perfect for me, because like I
yeah,
could literally move it, and I'd
yes,
go down and I can see
right,
her. You position it on your
yes,
forehead so perfect. It was perfect for me
yes,
at that point.
exactly.
Now
Yeah.
I probably wouldn't do it.
But you know what? Definitely, like to start, you also are trying to like cut corners and on the money you spend because you're
Yes,
trying to get a
because
good return.
yes, and what a lot of lash techs don't understand, beginner lash techs don't understand, is you have to spend money to make
To
money.
make money. It's
It is
very true.
not cheap.
It
It
is
is
not.
very expensive. Good
Mhm.
quality. I know they say,
Absolutely.
oh, well, I can just get this and I can do a lot of, but quality over quantity
Absolutely. Like
every
I
time.
totally
Quality over
agree with you.
quantity.
Yeah.
Because using the lashes that I use now versus what I used to use before, it's like chef's kiss.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
And using the right tools, the right lashes, the right
Yes.
adhesive for you makes your job easier. And I think that's why a lot of beginner lash techs quit.
Yes,
You know what I mean?
because example for example, like how different types of tweezers, you have your sweet spot, and once that sweet spot goes out, you're just like, oh, I mean,
You're
there's been
done.
times I want to throw tweezers across the room,
Yeah.
and I'm going through certain
Absolutely.
tweezers, and I'm like, oh my goodness, I need a new set.
Yes.
But I mean, it does, and then you got to have the right. A lot of techs, they give up because
Mhm.
of glues.
Yeah.
A
Or
lot of
they're
glues.
just taking so long. Like they're just taking so long that it's just like, this is not for me.
Right.
And it's just like, no, babe, you're taking so long because,
You need different products,
yeah, you need
or you
different
need different
products.
tools. Yeah.
Just because I use all of these different products does not mean they're going to be for you.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Different strokes for different folks.
Exactly. It's going to be different. And for beginner lash techs, like what I see the most is like, oh, well, she does a set in an hour and 15 minutes. So I'm going to buy everything that she buys and I'm probably going to do a set in an hour and 15
Right.
minutes. And it's like, no,
No, you can't do that.
because number one, your skills are not the same. This is
Right.
like years of practice. You know what I
Right.
mean? So even if I gave you the right tweezer, it's still going to take you time to make that fan.
Right. You actually, and then you have a lot of lash techs nowadays too, downgrading women, that other lash techs that take less time than them.
Yeah, yeah.
I have a lot of girls that are like, oh, well, if you take an hour on a lash set, then oh, her isolation must be off,
Right,
or
right.
she's not doing this right. Or
Mhm.
no, it's not that. It's my products are good. I can work fast. I know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Just as fast as you lay down is as fast as I want you to get up.
I feel like if your customers are not complaining and you have good retention and they keep coming back, then obviously you're doing something right.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I also see a lot of lash techs where they kind of like talk shit about lash techs that take 2 to 3 hours if
Yes.
they're beginners. And I'm just like, it's going to happen for a while.
Yeah,
You know
I
what I
was
mean?
at 2 hours for about
Yeah,
2.5 years.
exactly. And
For
we
a
all have
while.
different techniques. So, there's very, very popular people in the industry that have been lashing for like 15, 20 years, and they take 2 to 3 hours still, but their technique is like so spot on. Like
Yes.
they're so like just detailed with their work. If you
Right.
were to look under a magnifying glass, it's just like, damn, you know what
Yeah,
I mean?
yeah,
And so don't compare yourself
to the next person.
to the next person because
Right.
that's one of the biggest mistakes that we make, and I think that gives us like anxiety.
Yeah,
You know
it
what I mean?
does.
That
It
gives
really
us
does.
anxiety. And I never try to compare myself to somebody else
No.
because I feel like this is where I'm at. This is what I like to do, how I like to do things, and this is how I see my results. You know
Right.
what I mean?
Right.
And a lot of people want to compare themselves to people that have been in the industry for years.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
And that's not right, because at the end of the day, you've been doing it longer than me. I'm not going to compare myself to you, because yes, you have years of experience, but also I started at a later age. So
Yeah.
it just depends on when we
Yes.
started and
Yeah.
what we're doing or what was popular
And
then.
even then, like we both have like strengths. You
Right.
know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like we both have different strengths in the industry. We both have a different customer base.
Right.
Like everything's just very different. So I think that if you're a new lash artist, block the people that you need to stop watching
Yes.
that are going to give you anxiety,
Right.
because you need to stop comparing
Yeah.
yourself, and that's going to make you want to quit.
It will.
Is seeing other
Yes.
people's success, and remember, looks can be deceiving.
Yes. Why is
Social
she
media.
why is she here this fast? Why
Yeah.
is she making this so much money? Why does
Yeah.
she have this many clientele? Worry about yourself
Work
at the end
on
of the
you,
day.
boo.
Yes. Work on yourself, because nobody can make you better besides
Mhm.
yourself.
Yeah, I know. And at the end of the day, it's your clients that should be happy.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Your clients are coming to you because they're seeing your work and they're telling you, well, I want this set. Well, you
Mhm.
have to break it down. Well, your eyes aren't like this or this and that.
Right.
Okay, that's fine. I want something along this lines. Okay, got it. Now, if you feel confident in your work, then that shouldn't be a problem.
Right.
You know?
Absolutely. So, I mean, we're all going to be very different in this industry. We're all going to have something different to offer our clients. And, I can do a volume set and Chastity can do a volume set. Our volume sets will be different, and clients will be more attracted to hers or more attracted to mine.
Right.
That's why there's, like, I always tell you guys in my classes, or I tell you guys sometimes, like, that's why there's so many stores that sell shoes, so many stores that sell clothes.
Yes.
Because everybody has different taste.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like,
different types.
exactly. So don't worry so much about the next person. Focus on your skills, focus on improving. Buy the right tools, so that you can improve.
Invest in yourself.
Invest in yourself.
Yeah.
But that is one of the biggest mistakes that beginner lash artists do
Yes,
make, that we
they do.
definitely made
That's
at the
what makes
beginning.
that's what makes them give up fast.
Yeah, it's not having the right tools, and us and our little damn lights.
Yes, right? Oh my God, I swear.
Okay, so what else did you learn along the way, Chastity? That it's
Um,
like, oh my God, I can't believe I used to do that.
Let's see. What else did I do?
Like, what kind of lashes, like what kind of glue did you run into that
So
you were
I
like,
ran into so much glue. I went through so many different types of
know.
glue. I used to use the glue that actually came with my first time kit, was like
Oh
the best.
my
And
God. I know what glue
didn't
that was.
Yes, it didn't have a label.
Yeah.
You couldn't buy it nowhere unless you bought the kit. So I'm like, I
Yeah.
got all these kits full of stuff that I don't use.
Yeah.
So I'm using that one, and then they stopped selling it, and I'm like,
Oh,
okay, so what do I
shoot.
do?
Yeah.
What do I do now?
Yeah.
So I went with sky glue. Sky glue
Yeah.
was just not for me. I do use it when I teach my classes.
Yeah.
But other than that, that's just like a beginner for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
I needed something more fast paced. Something that, because I know my mind, I can pick up and make my fan and go. Pick it up, make my fan and go. It really helps a lot with
Yeah.
that. Your dry time, your retention,
Yes.
making sure your client's lashes are clean. There's no oils.
Yes.
You have to make sure you
I
clean
think
the
that's
area.
something that I wasn't taught either. Cleansing.
No, I just was taught moisturize around, and that's it.
Yeah, like I wasn't. We've come a long way, y'all.
Yeah, very long
In the
way.
industry, We've come a long way, because I made a video about this on our channel, where, again, I was taught, like, my teacher was like, okay, now you're applying lashes, and I'm like, okay, like on a mannequin, like, no, there's a person right here laying on this chair, and you're gonna put it, and I was like, huh. I was like, oh shit. And so then, like, I was applying lashes, but I was just applying lashes. I knew nothing else about.
Yeah, it was hard.
nothing.
It was like, okay, just do this. Like I said, I didn't get to practice on a person.
Mhm.
I was getting practice on.
Yeah.
And so when I got home, I'm just like, Mom's like, you know what you're doing? I'm like, no, but we're gonna do it.
Yeah,
Like,
I
let's
know.
just get it done.
Our mom's the best. They just like let you practice
And
anything.
it's so crazy now. Like I have loyal clients that
Yeah.
started with me from the
Yes,
jump,
me too.
and they still come. And I'm like, man, y'all fucking love me, because
yeah.
I would have not rocked that set that I did on you a long time ago.
Yes, I
And
know.
I swear the hype was real. Oh my God, my lashes look
Yes,
good.
I
And
know.
now I'm like, girl.
Like, I don't even
What?
want to repost that picture from like 5 years
Yeah,
ago.
I know when I do my classes, they're like, well, do you have pictures of your first set? I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, don't be scared because
Yeah.
jump scare for real. I was like, they're like, what?
But
I'm
you
like,
know
yeah.
what? That's a good thing.
Yeah.
Like, if we were to
You see your
post a picture from the glow up, you know what I mean? It's like, oh my
exactly.
God. Like,
It's like posting a picture of us from 2005
yeah.
to now, and
Yes,
you're like,
exactly. You were like, yeah.
them eyebrows.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
But
it's like that.
yeah, it's like so many things that you run into. But you know what? Going to cosmetology school, I think was one of the biggest investments, but I felt like it drained me so
Yes.
much. And I know that happened to you too.
Yes, it did. It drained me a lot. I really felt like I was never going to finish.
Yeah.
I thought I was never going to finish. It prolonged so long. I went through a lot of things,
Me too.
a lot of things during schooling. You know, I started cosmetology school and then I quit because I got pregnant with my third son. Then I went back and I was like, you know what? I'm going to go to school. I'm going to finish. So I went back and then after my last baby was born, so I started, doing Cosmo whenever she was like 9 months.
Yeah.
So this is all my baby knows me to do is cosmetology.
Yes.
Stay home, lashes. That's
Yeah.
the big thing. When she grows up, she wants to be a lash tech. Okay,
Aw.
that's her favorite thing right now. Give me lashes. Give me lashes.
Yes.
Like after every client, she'll get up there and lay down, and she'll be like, "Okay, my turn."
Aw.
I'm like, so I have to act like I'm doing it,
Yes.
and then, but it was a struggle for me. School was really hard. Going over the book over and over and over and over on the book was probably the hardest thing for me because I'm like, every time I would leave and come back, I'm like, I already did this. I already did this.
Yeah.
I know this already. I knew the book like the back of my hand.
Yeah.
I think the hardest part for me was the hours and knowing that
Yes.
I'm working for free.
Yeah, I know.
And it's
That
not
was the
really
worst
for
me
free.
too.
You have to take that mindset away because I was at that
Yeah.
mindset where, okay, hey, you're doing all of these clients and everything for free. But
I
you're
know.
not. You're making hours, which invests in yourself,
Yeah, it
which
does.
makes you, a better person. So that way you
Right.
can take your state board test. So that way you can, get the license that you need.
Right.
Because being a lash, even just cosmetology, but a lash tech, you have to be licensed.
Right.
I know there's a lot of beginners that are not licensed. They're home based.
Yeah.
And a lot of girls, they're like, oh, I don't got the money right now, or I don't got the time. Make the time.
You're never going
Yeah.
to move up the ladder.
Never.
Like, you're always going to be hiding it. There's not a lot of ways that you can promote because someone can rat you out and be like, she doesn't have a license. She's working
was
from
me.
home. You know
That
what
was
I
me.
mean? You can never, like, you're going to, I know what I did is like I promoted a lot on Snapchat.
Yeah, I did
Because
too.
I was so afraid that somebody was
Yeah.
going to, because I knew people that were working from home, either doing hair or lashes or whatever their craft was in the beauty industry that needed a license, that people did rat on, that they pointed fingers
Right.
on. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they did. They do that a lot. A lot
Yeah.
of you have when you get in this industry, you are gonna have so many haters.
Yeah.
So many people want to see you fall before they want to see you reach the top.
Because they don't want to take the time to do what
yeah,
you're doing.
exactly. They
And
want to
it's-
be where you're at,
But they
but
don't
they don't want
want
to take the time and
Yeah.
the energy and all the blood, sweat, and tears.
Right. Exactly.
They don't want to do none of that.
They don't want to do the footwork.
No.
And it's a lot.
They want it
of footwork.
handed to them.
Yes.
It's
It's
a
a
lot.
lot of footwork. And if you're serious about your industry, you're going to do the footwork, whether it kills you. You know what I mean? And I think we went through that.
Yeah,
We paid
a
our
lot.
dues.
We paid our dues.
We paid our dues big time because just like you, Chaz, like I felt like it was never going to end. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I was
it-
just like in this depression.
I was like, it's like I would be so excited about going to school. Like, oh yes, wake up in the
Yes.
morning, headed to school. I would walk through that door, and I'm just like
like a
ugh.
drag. You
Like,
know what I mean?
oh, this time is taking forever. I thought that it was never
Yeah.
gonna.
And then
like,
I would check
surpass.
my hours because back then it was like 1,500 hours.
and it never went up.
And I felt like I checked my hours and I'm like,
Like, how did I not complete
Yes.
100 hours this week?
and then, being there, you're not making any money.
No.
And you got to figure out how to make money in the evening. And so I would still see like part-time clients.
Time is a big
Yeah,
thing.
and you're just like busy all day and you're drained every single
You're
day from
drained.
going to school all day long and then coming home and seeing clients and then going back to school. And it's just a cycle that you never break, and you're working on the weekends because you're trying to catch up for the days that you didn't work
Yes.
during the week.
Yes, there's times where
Yeah.
I worked Monday through Sunday.
Yeah, me too. It
There was
hard.
times where they're like, you're here, but you're not here.
Yeah.
We'd be eating dinner, and somebody called me for a lash tech. Come on, come over. I'll do it.
Yeah, because
You know?
At the beginning, guys, you have to take them as they come.
Yeah,
You really do.
they're not. You can't.
You can't be choosy.
You cannot be choosy. You cannot go and say, "Oh,
Yeah.
I'm only working from this time to this time." I would be in the
And
studio
we've
even
seen
now.
that. We've
Yes.
seen that in the industry.
Gosh,
right?
yes. Oh, I'm not working them hours. I don't work weekends. I don't do late
Yeah.
nights. I do late nights. I do early mornings. I will be there whenever you call me to be there.
Exactly. And that's why there's a lot of lash techs that
That
fail.
Mm-hmm.
They fail.
They do.
Because they want to be choosy and say,
I want to make all this money
I'm just gonna work 9 to
on
5
these hours.
Yeah, and you're like,
Oh,
girl.
and don't mention the weekend because I ain't working on the weekend.
Yeah.
I think the only reason why we don't work on Sundays is because our building don't have AC.
Oh my God! Yes, I have
because
tried.
we would be there.
We have both tried coming on Sundays. Unfortunately,
Even with fans, it's
yeah. In our building, we don't control the air
right
in our suite. It's controlled by floor.
Yes.
And so we have tried coming in on Sundays because we were both workaholics, and oh my God, I was sweating my ass off.
I'm talking about drenched. The other day, I came in on a Sunday because a girl called me.
God.
She's like, "Please, I'm working out of town," and she's one of my loyal clients. So
And
I'm
so
like,
you're trying to
"Okay,
make
you know
it
what,
for her,
girl?
yeah.
I got you." I went in. I'm doing it, and I'm talking about. I'm like, "Girl, I got a fan here,
Yeah.
here on her." I'm just like, and just
It's
drenching in sweat, and I'm just like,
Yeah.
and then you're under pressure in that time, so you're like, "Oh my God, let me just hurry up and finish."
Yes.
But you have to make sure you're on.
Yeah.
Point,
But if you have AC and you're a beginner lash artist, what else are you doing on Sundays?
Exactly. Work as much as you can, as
What
much
are you
as
doing
possible.
on Sundays? Because my mindset when I started was this. It was like, hey girl, can you do my lashes on Sunday at 3 p.m.? And I was just like, man, I really don't want to. But then I would think to myself, what else am I going to do?
Exactly.
I'm probably just going to sit on the couch and watch TV.
Right?
Or just snack. Or
why not invest in yourself?
Yeah.
Make more money.
Yeah.
You're sitting there not doing anything. Make some money. Get up and make some money.
Now I have the luxury of saying, no, I'm busy. I can see you on Monday.
Right.
But back then, if you texted me a day before and I wasn't doing anything, I'm like, yeah, come in.
Fridays and Saturdays. I remember Fridays and Saturdays.
Yeah.
I would work until 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. I would have girls messaging me at 1 in the morning. Hey, girl, I know it's late. I know it's this. I know it's that. But can I come? Girl, come on.
Yeah. I wouldn't work that late. I think the latest that I would work was like 9 p.m. On the weekends. That's the latest that I would work, like 8, 9 p.m. Because I'm the type of person that needs like a mental break.
Yeah.
Or I will like and I tell, my family this all the time at home, like I need to recharge. Yeah. I cannot like work back to back. I'm a workaholic. Like if I'm not at the studio working on lashes, I'm here. If I'm not here, I'm subbing at the school. Like I'm a workaholic. I have to be doing something. I cannot just stay home and do nothing. Right. I will go crazy.
Yeah, I'm the same way.
But I have learned that my burnout is real. You know what I mean?
The burnout
is real.
Really real. So when you're a beginner lash tech, and yes, we're telling you to take your clients, do this, keep working, work long hours, do this, do that. But don't forget to take time for yourself.
Yes.
Because you will get burned out. Burned out is the biggest thing because you're like, oh, I don't even, I'm doing all this work for what?
Yeah, because we did the 7 days a week thing. And at the beginning, it's still exciting anyway for you to be working 7 days because you're like blessed. You know what I mean? Blessed.
But you do need your mental health is very important.
After a while, I was just like, no, I can't take appointments that late because I'm going to burn myself out. And I have appointments in the morning and I feel like I can't give the best of me that way. You know what I mean? But when you need the money and you're going to do it.
Yes, exactly. I was about to say that. Whenever your bills are piling up on you and you're just like, okay, no, I got to work. I got to work. So sometimes I'm like, I overbook myself and I will work from morning to night, 2 to 3 days back to back to back. And then that next day, I'm not working. I'm so busy throughout them other days. And then there's one day that I'm not working and I'm like, my mind is not being able to shut off thinking that I have to keep working and keep working and working.
Exactly.
And so whenever it's finally time to relax, it's nighttime and I got to work the next day. So I don't get that full day to return. So work a full day, take a couple clients the next day, work a full day, take a couple clients the next day. Make sure you give yourself that time.
Yes. Again, at the beginning, like, take them as they come in. Like if you don't have anything Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, but your Thursday, Friday, and Saturday and Sunday are like off the hook. Take them all.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because you need to make up for those days that you didn't work.
Right.
And so sometimes I do the same thing. Like I double book myself, and I know I'm not going to finish a set at that time, but I'm going to book it anyway because that's the time she wants. And she's going to wait a little bit, but I'm going to take her. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Because I'm trying to make this money and make up for the days that I didn't. But back then, like, you know, just take them as I would just take them as they would come in. Like
that's
anything.
Beginning, I would do whatever, anything for a client. Promoting your business. You have to promote when you're a beginner lash tech. If you have to. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how many likes, follows, or whatever you're getting. Somebody is always watching.
Yes. You know what? And I think that both of us were not that big on social media.
No,
you know what I mean.
I definitely. I have my sister and then make my.
Yeah.
I was nowhere big on social media.
Yeah.
Now I have over 5,000 people following.
That's the only reason why I even made a page.
Yeah.
Like 2 years ago, I made a page because people kept asking me because it's a thing. You know what I mean?
Right.
Social media is a thing now, and back then it really wasn't. We really worked on referrals a lot.
Yes, and word of mouth.
Yeah, word of mouth is what we really worked on, and so somebody. Well, not somebody, but a lot of people would be like, hey, do you have a page I can show my friend? Because she's asking me. I referred you, but my friend wants to see pictures. Do you have a page? And I'm like, shit, like, what do I do? Like, I used to have a page, but I wasn't very active on it because I really didn't do social media like that.
Right.
And so then, like, I opened it back up and I started posting pictures and started posting stories. And so then I got a few more people through there. But honestly, I think your biggest customer base is referral base.
Yes,
it really is.
It is word of mouth. I think so too. It just really goes along with, oh, well, hey girl, where'd you do your lashes at? Oh, so-and-so did them. Okay, well, that's where I'm going to go because I like that. But hey, do you have, I like her lashes, but they're too full. I need something lighter.
Yeah.
Or,
exactly.
She doesn't have enough. Can I get some more? Do you have pictures? Do you have Instagram?
Yes.
Instagram is a big thing right now.
Absolutely. Instagram is a big thing. And, you know, I have a Facebook as well. That's what I started off with was a Facebook.
So did I.
But I've noticed that there's less activity on Facebook than Instagram.
Yes.
So that's a tip for you guys. If you guys are wanting to promote and kind of like show more of your work, I think that Facebook has, for me.
It's limited.
Yeah. And I think Instagram is a little bit more, there's more hype about it.
Right. Yes.
You know?
Well, for me, like my biggest thing was Facebook. A lot of my clientele come from Facebook. I really don't have that big of a following on Instagram because when I go on Instagram, I see people all over the world. But if I'm seeing people all over the world, if I post, all them people all over the world is going to see my stuff. Yeah. So that's why I feel that Instagram is a bigger variety than, you know, Facebook. Facebook, you know, only people that are your friends can see your stuff.
Yeah. And I've had, you know, a few guests on our show that are big on social media, and they told me the same thing, that Facebook is kind of like down here and Instagram's the place to go. And TikTok. TikTok's big like the place
time.
now.
Oh, yeah. TikTok.
And I'm really trying to get better at it, but we have such little time. You know what I mean? Like when we're in the shop, we're not sitting there.
No.
Like,
and I tried it. I have some where I can actually, oh, look, let me use my camera and my light real quick. You know, let me do this and make it. And it takes time.
Yeah, because you gotta edit all this stuff. You know what I mean? And like, I find myself sometimes like having like 5 to 10 minutes in between customers here and there. If they're not already arriving, I'm like already cleaning up to get to the next customer.
Yes.
I find myself having just a few minutes, but there's so much shit to do in the shop.
There is. And not only is there so much stuff for us to do in the shop, cleaning up after clients, making sure you sanitize and doing all that stuff, you also, after that client, you have to recollect yourself.
Yeah.
If you don't recollect yourself, how are you going to jump into the next person?
Yeah.
It's like you're feeding off of their energy. So you're dealing with somebody's energy and you're doing their lashes and it's great or whatever. And then you have to allow yourself to remove that.
Yeah.
And then be able to open up. Like they say all the time, whenever these girls come in to get their lashes done, they ain't just coming to get their lashes. They're coming in for a therapy session.
Yes, girl.
So we're taking it all in.
And sometimes it's sad. And I'm like, oh my God.
I mean, I'm literally going through it with you, sis. So I know.
You're like, whew.
Okay, let me clear this off. Next, let's go.
And that conversation is like totally different. Yeah. It's a different like mood.
You can have a sad one, and then you got a hype one, and then you got a funny one.
Yeah, it's your moods are like this all day.
So
it's like watching people's stories on Facebook or Instagram. It's like
in real life,
they're going through stuff, and you're like, oh my God, how depressing. You know?
Yes.
But that kind of like consumes you too. Like your energy is just different with different people. But yeah, you do got to recollect yourself. And not only that, I find myself like trying to record stuff in between customers and then I'm forgetting all about it because somebody arrived.
Right.
And so you don't even get to. So what I say a lot is either you're a content creator or you're a lash artist.
Exactly.
If you have like, and I'm not saying this in general for everybody, but most of the time, if you have like 10,000 followers, you're a really good content creator. When do you have time to lash?
Exactly. Because creating
Because I don't have
content
time.
is very hard.
It's very
It is
hard.
so hard. I've tried and I have multiple videos of the
Yes.
same thing because I'm trying
Yes.
and it's so hard.
And you know
Kudos
what?
to y'all because
Yes,
it's so
kudos
hard.
to y'all. If you are a lash artist that's very busy all day long, like you're actually lashing yourself all day long, and you have amazing content, please tell us how.
Please. I would
Because
love to know.
I mean, I suck at content creating.
I mean,
because,
I know we have, the phone holder on our thing, but I just can't do that and lash at
Yeah.
the same time. It's hard.
and T the brand was on our show a couple of months ago, and she's like, you're already creating content. You're lashing somebody, and I'm like, I know, T, but it's so hard.
I
Like,
don't want to put their business out there.
and you don't have to put their business out there, but
Yeah.
like having to stop and pause. And one time I thought I was recording in my phone storage, you know what I mean, or my battery, and I'm like,
Yes.
oh,
Yeah,
this is a
it
failure.
It does. It gets frustrating. It gets
Yeah.
aggravating. I guess once again, just like last year, you gotta have
Yeah.
patience for it.
But
It's
T
something I
is
don't.
really good at that. She's a mentor. If you guys want to like check her out, she's been on our channel a couple of times. She's really, really cool. She's on Instagram as T the brand as well. But anyway, she gave us really good advice. But again, like I suck at content creating. Like
Yeah,
I just
same.
suck.
Yes.
Maybe I need to take T's class. I don't know.
Maybe right. Can I get a creator's class, please?
But anyway, back to cosmetology school. It was so hard, guys.
It was draining.
It was draining.
I actually, I lasted all the way past when they set the law from 1,500 to 1,000 hours.
Yeah.
And something real tragic happened to me, and I wasn't able to. I had 1,300 and something hours.
Oh
And I was like, I was dedicated to making 1,500, even though by state law you only needed 1,000 to take your
Yeah.
state board. But I was so dedicated and
You're like, I'm already
determined. I'm
doing
like,
it.
no, I need to do it. And they
Yeah.
were like, just go take your test. That way you can be licensed. You need
Yeah.
to be licensed. That is your goal. Your goal is to get a
Yes.
license,
Exactly.
And I did. And I think, no, even knowing everything that I knew was like the biggest nerve-wracking experience I ever had in my life.
Yeah, me too.
I was like, and then when they were like, "Oh, you
Ugh.
passed," I was like, "Ah!"
Oh,
Actually,
girl.
whenever I didn't even know that I passed, the day before, like I was at home, lash tech before, I was, working
Yeah.
with you in the studio, and I was doing lashes, and I'm like, man, I'm checking every day. They said it takes 3 to 5 days, sometimes it take up to 14
Yes.
business days, and I'm like, I can't wait that long.
I
The
know. That happened to
anticipation
me
is
too.
real.
That
And
happened
so
to me
they're like,
too.
keep checking, keep checking. So I
Yes.
checked one day. I woke up the next day. I had a bright and early client, and I was like, okay, let me just start doing lashes. And I didn't even check the website. I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna call TDLR because I
Yeah.
need to know.
Yeah.
Or PSI. I called one of them,
Yeah.
and they're like, well, we're not showing anything in the system. Just check online. And I'm like,
I hate when
well,
they do
if
that.
you can't check
Oh
it in the
my
system, how am I
God.
gonna see it online?
It's the worst.
Yeah, so then I was like, okay, thank you. I'm getting frustrated. I'm like, so I'm working, I'm lashing. And then on the side, I'm like, you know what? Let me just go check it real quick. She has, the fan on her lashes, her eyes still taped shut. I'm just waiting. And so I type it in and I'm like looking it up and I'm like, it says expires December of, whatever year. And I'm like, oh my
I know.
God, I passed.
Oh my
and
God,
my
yes.
client, you're going to get different clients.
Yeah.
At this moment, I had a client who didn't even speak English.
Oh
My
God.
client
She's
didn't-
like, what's going on?
She had no idea. She didn't speak any English at all. She was only spoke Spanish. I literally talked to my client through Google Translate.
Oh my
Okay,
God.
it was
Yeah.
crazy. But then I told her what it was, and she was like, "Oh, muy feliz," or whatever. She's like so happy, and I was like, "Oh my God," I was so happy. I'm like, "I'm so sorry." She's like, "No, it's okay, it's okay."
Aw.
But yeah, when I found out, getting
Yes.
your license is like,
Oh
the cherry
my
on the cake.
God. It is
It-
like the
this-
most amazing feeling. So if you think taking like a class is amazing, get a license.
Yeah, you think that certificate of completion is like
Yeah.
bomb? No, when you get your license,
Yeah.
you ain't gonna know how to act.
You're
I
not.
promise.
I promise.
That was, like, the
because
best.
I feel like now I can post myself everywhere.
I could do it all.
what I
I'll put myself on a billboard if I want to.
Exactly. Exactly.
I can do it all now. You can't
I
tell me nothing.
know,
You know, whenever
exactly.
you're not licensed and you just have a certificate of completion, you're like hiding in the background. You're kind
Yeah.
of scared to put yourself out there. You can be so good.
Yeah.
But putting yourself out there, you're nervous. You're kind of scared
Yeah.
because
You
at
need to
the
get
end of
your
the
license,
day,
guys.
you
Get your
cannot
license.
you cannot just do as
Yeah.
many things being a certificate of completion lash artist as you can a certified
Yes.
licensed lash tech.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
It's
You could go beyond.
I
Like, that's
know. It's an amazing feeling, and I see so many talented lash artists out there working from home without a license, and they're taking that risk every day that we
every
took.
day.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it gets real at some point. If you have any issues with any of your clients, there's a risk they're going to report you.
They will take that and run with it.
Yeah.
That is the biggest thing is they're gonna take it. You're not licensed. I'm taking you to TDLR.
Yep.
I had it
Yeah.
done to me once, and I was like, I think that's when it clicked to me. Whenever I had a girl that I didn't know, nobody that I knew her. Like she just came from a Facebook group and was like, "Hey, I want to do my lashes with you. I really like your
Yeah.
work." I'm like, "Okay, cool. You know, come book your appointment." She comes, and she was like, "Oh," then she was like, "I love my lashes, this and this," and I'm like, "Okay, great." She leaves, and she's like, "Hey, I got this and that," and I'm like, what? Like
Yeah.
how? I've never had that problem ever
Yeah.
in the 4 years I was actually. I never had that problem.
Right.
So I'm like, how? And I'm like, okay, well, look, if you can send me this and this and this, then I'll refund you whatever.
Yeah.
But when you're a lash tech, all payments are not refundable
Absolutely.
because you're using your product and you're
Yeah.
using your time.
For sure.
You know what I mean? That is the number one thing. It's
Yep.
non-refundable. It doesn't matter. I mean, now if they have an allergic reaction, their eyes swell up, something, then maybe like a 50% or something deposit.
Consider
It's
something.
it's okay.
Yeah.
You could be considerate. You can remove their lashes and do other things.
Yeah,
There's
yeah.
always other things that you can do. But she was like, well, I'm threatening to take you to TDLR. And at that moment, it clicked to me like,
Me too.
you need to take the other part of your test.
Yeah.
Because I did the written and I passed. And I was like, okay, I was thinking, okay, I'm good.
Yeah.
No, in order to complete it and get your license, you have to take both.
It's a two-part test to get a cosmetology license, guys. Now there's other licenses that you can take with shorter hours. There's
Right.
the esthetician license. I think that was like 600-700 hours, something like that. I don't remember.
And then
the lash extension specialty. If you just want to do lashes, that's it.
Yeah.
Then you can take that, but you're not allowed to do anything else with that license.
Nothing.
Just so that you understand that. That's like 320 hours, the fastest license you can get to do lash extensions. It's gonna take like 3 months of your life from you, but you're gonna be learning something.
Yeah.
Things that you need to learn in order to improve your skills and knowledge. But that license, the cosmetology license, allows you to do a lot of different things. So that's like top tier license. Yeah.
It's like you have all these little license
Yeah.
in between, and then Cosmo is like
Yeah.
is like the crown.
Yeah, because there's Cosmo esthetician license, which allows you to do facials, waxing, and all of
Lashing.
that stuff, lashing. Then there's the manicure one, which allows you to just do nails. And then there's the lash license. But Cosmo, you can do all of those things.
Everything beauty.
Everything beauty.
Everything.
You can do everything. You can wax, you can do facials, you can do brow lamination, lash lifts, you can do lashes, you can do hair. I mean, you can do braiding. You
It
can
goes
do
on and
everything.
on and on
Yeah,
and
on and on and on about things that you
Yeah.
can do with the Cosmo license. So that's why it's so many hours. And a lot of girls take the smaller ones and then go back to Cosmo because then they realize they can't do all the other stuff.
Right.
You know
And
what I mean?
in reality, they should have just went straight for Cosmo and they would have got it all
But
done.
they see
But
the hours.
Yes. They're like, oh,
Which
I can do that in a little bit of time. I
Yeah.
can do that in a little
Yeah.
And that gets you. Oh, it's not that much money. It's not that much hours. Let me do it real quick. But you're limited.
Get that year of your life out of the way doing
Yeah.
the school, doing the Cosmo license,
Get over it.
and get it over with. Unless all you want to do is focus just on lashes and that's it. Just remember that if you do one service, you're limited to that one service, and if things kind of
Yes.
fluctuate,
You're gonna want
You're
to.
gonna
So
ride
being
that
in
wave.
being in the beauty industry, lashes I think were lashes are a big hit for me.
Yeah.
But when my lashes ain't hidden, my hair is hidden.
Yeah.
So when hair ain't hidden, lashes are hidden.
Yeah.
So being in the beauty industry,
Yeah.
Cosmo's really good, but if you want to do one thing, that's fine too. But
Yes.
you want to get something that you're not limited. That's the main thing is you don't
Yeah.
want to be limited in this industry
Exactly.
because there's so many good things out there
There's
to learn.
so many good things to learn, and providing multiple services is going to keep you on top when things are kind of like this.
Yes.
You don't want to ride that wave because I promise you it's a really bumpy ride. It's
Ugh,
like
it's so
you're
bad.
down here, you're like, oh, And then you're back, you're like, oh God, thank God. You know?
And then when you're down here, you're like praying for heavy days.
Yes.
You're like, oh my God, what I'll do for a heavy day. And then
Yeah.
when you're up here, you're like, oh my God, I need a break. I need a vacation.
Exactly.
You know, it's
exactly.
an emotional roller coaster.
It is.
But it's worth it.
It is an emotional roller coaster, but that's why it's very important to take those extra classes like you did in
Yeah.
Cosmo. You know that lash
Mhm.
class.
The lash class.
That's
yes.
what's making you like a lot of money.
Yes,
right now.
because I would have never in my life thought
Yeah.
that I was gonna do lashes. Lashes, like I said, I didn't
Yeah.
even know what lashes was. So
Right.
thinking that I was gonna be 5 years in as a lash tech and as far as I am, and
Yeah.
the amount of following and the clientele that I have right
Yeah.
now is great. I would
Yeah.
have never thought that.
I remember back in Cosmo School when we were there together, I had already done lashes. And I remember you picking my brain.
Mm-hmm.
I remember you picking my
Mhm.
brain a lot.
I used to.
And you used to come and used to be like, and how do you do this? And so if I do this, then what? You
Yeah,
know what
exactly.
I mean?
I wanted
And
to
I'm
know
like, yeah.
everything.
And I didn't know everything because, again, I was taught by somebody just application. So whatever I knew, I would tell her, but I don't know if it was the right thing.
Right, I know, right? I had girls when we were in Cosmo. I had girls. I would literally have my clients come to the school, and I would
Me
work.
too.
I would work
Me
on them
too.
because I was like, I need to make money. But how am I
Yeah.
gonna make money if I can't do clients? So
Yeah.
I would have them come in, and I would make my hours and this. But I was also showing other girls how to do lashes
Yes.
as well.
Exactly.
Excuse me.
And I don't know if you remember, but back then we had an instructor. She was super, super nice. The school had just started offering lash services,
Mhm.
and there wasn't that many people that knew how to do them.
No.
So I know I was one of them, then you were one of them. And she actually used to give me a cut.
Miss Hernandez.
Yes.
Oh yeah, she's
She
the one
used to
who
give
taught
me
me.
a cut.
Yeah,
She used
that
to
was
give
my
me a cut
instructor.
because she knew that I already had my supplies
Yes.
that I would use, my glue and all that stuff. The school didn't have anything, and so she'd say, Anita, there's gonna be someone that wants lashes. Did you bring your things? And I'm like, yeah, I did. And she's like, okay, I'll give you $25-$30.
Right.
And to me, that was
That was
like,
a lot.
oh my God.
I started out at
Because-
$25 sets.
Yeah,
Okay, so
because-
these girls that are starting out at
Yes.
$60 sets, okay, kudos to y'all because I started out at $25.
Yeah.
a set.
I actually started a little higher, but being in school, not making any money at all
That's a
day
lot.
and struggling, to me, $25-$30 was like, give it to me because
Right,
I
I'll
can
take
get
it.
more supplies.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so her helping me that way was just like so amazing. I loved her for that.
Yeah.
Because rules
She
have
was great.
changed now.
Miss
Yeah.
Hernandez. Yeah, that's who I took the lash class with.
Yeah, yeah, I know. I remember her. And she would come and give me some tips sometimes too. Like I would be
Mhm.
doing lashes and she's like, Anita, why don't you do this and this? I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I'll try that. And
Yeah.
so
You have
it's
to be
just-
open-minded.
Yeah, you have to be very open minded.
And
You
take
can't just think
corrective
you just know.
criticism.
Yes.
I think a lot of
Oh my
girls
God,
take
that's
that.
very true.
A lot of girls take whenever another lash artist is telling you, well, and it's not about what you say, it's how you say it. That's a big thing. It's because somebody could tell you something and you're like, excuse you, I know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But maybe they do know a little more than you, or maybe
Yeah.
they're trying to learn off of that.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
exactly.
You don't always know how they're
You
coming
have
at
to be open to learning from other people because I tell my students all the time, like, hey, everything that I just talked about, you might know 99% of it.
Right.
But that 1% that you're going to take with you, that's going to make a big difference for you.
Yes,
You
it
know
is
what I
going to
mean?
take a lot.
And so be very open to learning new things, learning new techniques. I teach my students a lot of different techniques, and I'm like, I don't use all of them, but I'm teaching them to you so that you can see which one works for you.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Because, and I tell my students all the time, what works for me might not work for you.
Yeah, exactly.
You have to. And I think even though, and we're in the studio a lot. I'm there a whole lot, and
You
she
are.
does a lot of different things. So when she's there, I think I have a question, she'll have a question. We'll go back and forth.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's always learning off of something, or
Yeah,
with her working here, with the Lash Supply and everything like that. I'm like, well, what new products do they got going on?
Yeah.
Like, what is this? What is that? Or how
Right.
do you do this? Or how do you do that? Like I said, every day in this
feed off of
industry,
each other. And I think that is an advantage of working with other lash techs.
Yes.
Is that you're gonna pick up on things, and if you're just working by yourself, you're kind of in this bubble. You know what I mean? Like you're always in this little bubble, and you're never learning and learning. But anyway, you're out of Cosmo School, and you're working on clients. You go get your license. It's like
Yes,
heavenly.
that's great.
And I see how far you have come. You
Yes.
know what I mean? I think we both kind of went through a lot of the same
Right.
things. you
Yeah,
know
we
what I
kind of did. I think that's what kind of brought it together.
Yes, I think we all start somewhere. And like I said, we both started on the couch. We
Right.
both started, with these little different lights and
Yes.
bad products and bad glue. I didn't know what glue was. I didn't know what lash glue was. I was just like, is it
Girl,
the same as
I
strip
thought it
glue?
was bonding glue.
Yeah, is it the same thing as strip
I
lash
did too.
glue?
I thought it too.
I screwed up a lot on clients.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But it's you
It's
take
a learning
it's a learning
experience.
experience. You take
Yeah.
what you learn from. You know what I mean?
So, having to go through all those things, guys, like I like you guys to listen to like other lash techs experiences because it's gonna prove to you like I'm not the only one that's going through this. You know what I mean? Sometimes
Yeah.
you feel like you're alone in the world, and I promise you're not.
You're really not. I
You're really
promise.
not.
Everything you're going through, we're going through it too.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
We've gone
Doesn't
through it.
matter
We're
how
going through it.
busy
Yeah.
she is, or I am, or they are.
Yeah.
They're going through the same thing.
Every client is a different learning experience
Yes.
also.
Take it and run with it.
But it's it's such a learning experience, but it it's a payback.
Oh yeah,
Like,
it's
it's a
very.
return.
It is.
It's a return,
yeah.
a big return for you.
It is.
And every learning experience is going to make you better and make you stronger and just like amplify your skills. You become a better lash artist, a better person. You meet so many different people.
Yes.
You have so many experiences. You're a lash therapist.
yeah.
You're just like
Different
all these-
connects. Every I've lash doctors and I
Yeah.
have lash entertainers.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
it
Yes.
doesn't matter. I have lash
Same.
all the way in between.
Me too.
It doesn't matter who you are, what you are. You're still a person at the end of the day.
Exactly. But Chastity, from all of this, that we talked about, from your experiences, from the beginning, from the struggle, from all of this stuff, like, what is a piece of advice for like our new lash techs out there? They just got their license or their certificate, and they're trying to get in the game. Like, what is a good piece of advice that you're just like, you know what, everybody needs to know this?
Don't give up. Do not give up.
Yeah.
There's going to be rainy days. There's going to be sunny days. Don't give up. Keep pushing. It doesn't matter what one person says, like we talked about earlier. You have to believe in yourself. Marketing, put yourself out there.
Yeah.
Make sure that you're promoting yourself, because nobody's going to promote yourself unlike you are.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You have to be well invested in yourself. How do you expect somebody to invest in you if you can't invest in yourself?
Yeah.
You know what
Nobody's going to believe in you.
No.
Yeah, you got to believe in yourself. It sounds really cliche, right? To be like, believe in yourself and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, but
it's true.
it's true. You have
It's true.
to.
Like, you cannot wait for somebody to be like, come on, girl, let's go do this.
Yes, nobody's gonna be like,
Nobody's
here,
going to push you.
here's this, here's how you do this, here's this. No, you gotta get out there and you gotta
get
work
out
for
there.
it.
And I always say, whatever you put into your business
You'll get out of.
is what you're going to get in return. So
Exactly.
if you're not taking those appointments, if you're canceling all of those appointments, if you can't get up in the morning for your appointments, if you're not putting yourself out there, if you're not getting up on rainy days,
You can't take some sacrifices for
Yeah.
your business. This is nobody else's business. This is your
Yes.
business. If you can't sacrifice, then what are you doing it for?
oh, you know what's a big one, real quick before we close, guys? We talked about this already. Beginner lash techs, stop underpricing yourself.
Oh, please.
Stop it.
Because at the end of the day, my regular sets and the way y'all are doing bomb sets, no, can we not?
Stop.
Because these are $50, these are $30.
Stop
Girl,
it.
what?
Stop it.
What the amount
Please.
the amount that you paid for them products is not even that amount that you're putting on their eyes. You're not
No.
making no money. You have to make money.
Yes.
You have to make profit.
Stop underpricing
Please,
yourself
stop.
and undervaluing yourself.
I think
because
we talk about that so
yeah,
much in the
because
studio.
you need to understand that lash extensions is
A luxury.
luxury service.
This is
Why
not a
are
day-to-day
you
thing.
charging $45?
No, don't do that.
You're making the rest of us look bad.
Very bad. Because they'll ask us for a special. And I'm like, no, girl. No.
Like, we try our best to do
Yes.
specials for you guys because, even though we want to attract the right customer,
We get it. Things happen.
things happen.
We have
Yeah.
kids. We have school supplies. We have
Yeah.
holidays. We got bills,
we
just
wanna
like
do
y'all got bills.
specials so that you guys are able to do your lashes and still afford that luxury
Right.
service. But it is a luxury service, guys, and not everybody does it right. So you need to
get what you
understand
pay for.
that we have paid our dues and we value ourselves, and this is why we charge what we charge.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because
Exactly.
we're not at home anymore lashing. We took the right courses. We got the licenses. We pay overhead to give you a good experience.
Exactly.
I know back then with our kids running around, it wasn't the best,
Yeah.
but we did charge a little less.
We did charge less. Okay.
But we did not charge $45.
No.
Okay?
No.
So raise your prices, value yourself, Continue to educate yourself. Um,
If you're gonna charge that, if you're gonna charge $45, do it for like just 2 months and that's it.
yeah,
Your beginning
don't.
stages until you get a couple clients. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Don't do it past 6 months. Once I get it, if you're like less than 6 months in, that's
I
really you're
understand
learning.
taking models in
exactly. You can do
because
a
you're
model
practicing.
fee.
Because
That
you're
can be a model
practicing.
fee.
Yeah, you just got out of school.
Nowadays, you're learning so much good stuff that we
Yeah,
didn't know.
yeah,
Because back then we can charge that less.
right.
Because we didn't know the information and quality that you would get from a
Yes.
lash tech
Yeah,
nowadays. Nowadays, lash techs are on point.
yeah.
When the lash instructors are very on point when it comes to
Detailed.
yes,
Yeah.
very detailed.
So anyway, that's some advice from Chastity and myself, stuff that we agree
Right.
on. You know what I
Yes.
mean? Because if you continue to charge those really low prices, and there's so many of you charging really low prices, it is no longer a luxury service.
No.
And we can't make the money that we all want to make. And if you
Exactly.
continue to charge $45, those are the only clients that you're going to attract. You're not going to attract high end clients. So
Not at all.
you need to value yourself. You need to value your skills. You need to value the education that you have received, and believe in yourself. Continue to push every single day. And I promise you, it's going to get you somewhere.
Yeah.
We didn't just wake up to this.
No.
You know
No.
what I mean?
It's blood, sweat, and tears. I promise you.
Blood, sweat, and tears. Slow days, days where we can't breathe because we have clients 9 to 9.
Don't
It's
even talk
craziness.
about eating. Okay.
Yeah, I know.
There's
Maybe
times.
I need to not eat.
Right.
I need to lose a little weight, girl. But anyway, I need to have a busier schedule now.
Right.
No, but anyway, guys, I think that's it for the show today. I hope that you guys can join us on our next podcast. Chastity, it was amazing to have you on the show. I
Thank
think
you
it was.
so much for having me.
I think it was overdue. You know. What I
Yeah,
mean?
it was.
I
It's
think it
been
was
overdue.
overdue. And I'm pretty sure that she's gonna be back on the show. If you guys want to like give us some opinion on some of the stuff you want to see us talk about,
Right.
you know
Yeah.
what I
Give
mean?
us some information.
Yeah, like,
or
hey,
some
can you guys talk
suggestions.
about this,
Yeah.
or can you guys talk about that?
Because whenever y'all do that, that helps us help you.
Yes, exactly. And we can always do another podcast on some of the subjects that you really want to hear about, because again, we've both been in the industry a while, and so we've probably run into things that maybe you haven't, or have, and are having trouble trying to figure
Right.
out. And so it's really, really important for you guys to interact with us and say, hey, can you guys talk about this next time on a podcast, and we will definitely put that out
Yeah,
there for you
because
guys.
it's not that easy coming up with things, or it makes it feels like you're talking about the same thing over and over
Yeah.
again. But if somebody tells us, "Hey, I'm having trouble with this. Can you talk about this?" Sure, and maybe it might be you think it's old to you, but it might be new to us. It's
Or new
something
to
that
somebody else.
yeah,
Or-
you
yeah.
can always influence other lash techs as well.
Exactly.
Just because
But
you're at home behind a screen doesn't mean nothing.
yeah, exactly. So anyway, guys, again, Chastity, thank you so much. Hopefully
Thank
you're
you
here
for
with us
having me.
next time.
I will.
You're gonna see a little bit more of Chastity on our channel, so be prepared for that as well. But thank you so much, guys. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Hit that like and comment, and we'd love to hear your feedback. We will see you guys next time on the Lash Life. We thank the Lash Supply so much for sponsoring our channel. Bye, guys. See you next time.
Bye.